we are heading out for a day of scratch removal out of town again. So going to hit a couple different dealerships, as well a private job for a customer down that way. So I'm going to take you guys along with me. Well, I take you guys on some jobs with me today. I want to talk about an amazing way to expand your detailing business. This strategy makes me anywhere from $50 to $100 an hour on average with my mobile detailing business. And sometimes I'm able to make upwards of, $125, but it does vary quite a bit because there's a lot of variables that does go into it. Before I do jump into it fully, this specific example isn't for the average detailer who has little to no experience with paint, although the idea can be transferable even if you only do interior detailing. But if you've been polishing and doing paint corrections and you're comfortable with wet sanding, compounding, and polishing, this can definitely benefit you in your business or future business in multiple ways. Working with car dealerships and other automotive shops, whether it be tint shops, dent shops, body shops, etc., is what a lot of people are missing out on. Most detailing businesses focus solely on building their personal customer base without even thinking about the potential for tapping into other people's customer bases as well. The example I'm going to be going over today is scratch removal. Now, I do tons of scratch removal jobs for dealerships and car shops because 1, every car has scratches, and 2, not everyone can remove them. That being said, a lot of people do try, but I see examples all the time of dealership detailers trying to remove the scratches themselves and making it far worse than it was originally, leaving wet sanding marks in the paint, ruining trim pieces, even burning through the paint. A lot of people don't realize we're working with a layer of clear coat about as thin as a dollar bill, with a machine spinning on average at about 2,000 to 4,000 revolutions per minute. So if you're jumping into this, just make sure you have experience and you're insured. I'm knocking on wood right now because I've never had a mistake that required a repaint, but I will dread that day when and if it comes. I'm not going to go over every little detail of my strategy, but the idea is general and you can form it into your own personal business. All you have to do is get out there to those dealerships and start knocking on some doors. Let them know what you have to offer and how you can provide them a service that will benefit them. This needs to be short, concise, and confident because these dealerships have people knocking on their doors all the time and companies trying to get work out of them. So make sure it seems less like a sales pitch and more of a general introduction to you. If you don't get a 100% yes right away, don't be afraid to go in and drop in, show your face every now and again just to let them know that you are serious. That being said, don't hound them if they're clearly not interested, but sometimes it does take 1 or 2 drop-ins before they realize that you're going to be reliable and serious about your work. You can do the same thing with other automotive shops as well. I was lucky in the aspect that I had multiple shops reach out to me personally because they saw my work either through social media or for my customers dropping into their shops. But knocking on doors to form partnerships is a lucrative business, so don't rely only on your customers. Personally, I'm at the point of working with over 10 dealerships and a few shop accounts regularly now, and it's been a huge stepping stone for my small business. Now, I know some of you are waiting to hear how you can make up to $100 an hour doing this. And again, I'm not going to give my entire strategy for free, but I'm going to give you an example that you can most definitely build off of and again, form it to your own business by yourself if you want. I'm going to put out some nice round hypothetical numbers just to make the math easy, but let's say I'm doing a dealership run and hitting 3 on this specific day. If I charge, let's say, $75 per vehicle for removing a handful of scratches that are eyesores on the paint, and I do 2 vehicles at each dealership, that'll bring me to a grand total of $450. Each vehicle will take me, let's say, 20 minutes on average, and I'll say 10-minute drive time between each dealership, even though they can oftentimes be within a minute or 2 of each other, but we'll add 10 minutes just because you do have to get to wherever you're going initially as well. So if you go to your 3 hypothetical dealerships and you're able to do 2 jobs at each one that takes you an hour per dealer, you're at about $450 gross for 3 hours worth of work. Now, before people go crazy saying it's too good to be true, I'm not saying this is a magical formula and you should quit everything else and do this. There are a lot of variables, and I'll be the first one to admit that. Some days, maybe one dealership doesn't have any jobs for you. Other days, maybe instead of 2, they have 4. Instead of $75, maybe it's only a couple scratches and you charge $50, but maybe it's a dozen and you charge upwards of $100. As you can see, just like anything else, this isn't a concrete way to make money. You have to ride the wave a little bit, and you're going to have some good days and some bad days with it. But the other important thing I want to point out is that this is a great way to fill in your schedule if you don't have private jobs booked. For example, I have Tuesday off this week, and instead of booking one small job or just sitting at home, I'll do a dealership run, and I know that I can bring in hundreds of dollars, whether that is $200 or $600. I'm not really sure, but I know it's a lot better than nothing. And this isn't even touching on offering services through other auto shops, and maybe I'll make a whole video on that another time, but I hope this gives you an idea to grow and expand your business a little bit, because it definitely helped me a lot. And I want to point out, specifically for mobile detailing businesses like myself, this is a huge stepping stone, because you will get a nice slow season, especially in the wintertime if you're from Canada like me. Now here's the thing, if you have a shop, you're probably experiencing a slow season, but if you're fully mobile, you are definitely experiencing a slow season, and having these connections to either dealerships or car shops is going to bring you in work through, again, like I said, their customer base, which you wouldn't have got otherwise. And that definitely helped float me through my first winter, because it was a very slow season. So we're done for the day and heading home now. I didn't record every single scratch because you can only do so much of that before it gets boring. But yeah, we did some work out in Woodstock here at some dealerships again. And then we just so happened to get a private job, which is that last job you just saw, for some scuffs on the bumper in the same town, which worked out really well. So we just finished that up. We're just gonna head home, and that's about it. So subscribe for daily detailing content. And if you do have any questions, just comment them down below.